Hey everyone, Peter here. Welcome back to my channel, and thanks for tuning in. I know it's been like half a year since my last video, so first and foremost, I just want to say thanks so much for your patience. Work and life in general kept me pretty busy, but I've been fortunate enough to acquire some new figures along the way. Now, a collection tour has been requested for some time, but I kept holding off since many of my figures are in storage due to limited shelf space, and because I rotate them in and out, I never got around to filming a tour. But I figured what better way to jump back into the hobby, and so for this video, I'll be sharing my current setup for early 2022, along with an update about the potential future of this channel. Now, a lot's happened in the world of pop culture since my last video. Some highly anticipated films and TV shows have come and gone, like Shang-Chi and Spider-Man No Way Home, both of which far exceeded my expectations, as I'm sure it did for many of you as well. It feels like it wasn't that long ago when the first No Way Home trailers dropped, which actually inspired some of these poses. And if you're wondering, Spidey's just hanging by a thread at the neck while Peter Parker is twist-tied to the metal frame. Additionally, Hawkeye was a really fun miniseries that I felt did a pretty good job bringing Kate Bishop to the MCU while also highlighting Clint and Yelena's mutual pain and suffering from losing Natasha. Plus, it was great seeing the Ronin suit and katana back in action. Then, we got the awesome sneak peek of Across the Spider-Verse, which got my heart racing since the first one still remains my favorite Spider-Man film, and seeing Miles get all embarrassed when Gwen dropped into his room was both hilarious and adorable. It's hard to believe it'll be 5 years since their big screen debut, and I'm really excited to see where the story takes them, especially with Miguel O'Hara and other Spiders joining the fray. Now, we also got the fourth installment of the Matrix franchise, and as much as I wanted to enjoy that film, I'd be lying if I said I did. I was a big fan of the first 3 films, and I watched Resurrections with an open mind, but I was still let down by the execution and overly meta storytelling. But hey, if you enjoyed it, more power to you. Next up, we got the Book of Boba Fett, which was justifiably met with some harsh criticism and mixed reactions, especially since his long-awaited return in Season 2 of Mando had set the bar so high. I mean, the pacing of his show was definitely a bit slow, and a few scenes were pretty laughable, but it had some great moments too. I mean, I really enjoyed his journey of survival among the Tuskens and a quest for a better life. Plus, we got to see a lot of fan favorites, both old and new. The return of Mando, the Armorer, Paz Vizsla, and Cobb Vanth was such a pleasant surprise, and I felt that Episode 5 was a gift that just kept on giving. I mean, we had Mando's brutally epic entrance, where he went medieval on a dude's ass. We had story time with the Armorer that had a Terminator-esque flashback to the destruction of Mandalore, followed by a duel with a Darksaber. There were callbacks to pod racing in Beggar's Canyon, a live-action BD droid doing a happy dance, and tons more fan service. The list goes on, but then they flexed even harder with a much better deep fake of Luke training Grogu, and to see Luke and Ahsoka share the screen together while referencing Anakin was so rich. We also got an awesome flashback of Order 66 during the prequels, and of course, freaking Cad Bane finally made his live-action debut. It was short-lived, but as many fans speculate, it's probably not the last we'll see of him. Now, the first trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi just dropped too, and man, absolute chills with Duel of the Fates. I was also a big fan of Rebels and Jedi Fallen Order, so seeing the Inquisitors and that spinning lightsaber had me screaming! I mean, Sabine and Thrawn have already been cast in Ahsoka, so I'm really hoping for Cal Kestis or Ezra Bridger to show up at some point. It might be wishful thinking, but either way, it really is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Now moving over to DC, we also got HBO's Peacemaker, which was such a fun and wild ride. Of course, leave it to James Gunn to strike the perfect balance of action, humor, and immersive storytelling. Plus, the Reef cameo with Barry and Arthur was comedy gold. Now, I won't be getting Peacemaker's figure, but I'd actually be down for Judo Master and his Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Maybe third party? One can hope. Of course, we also just got The Batman, and damn, what a film. I mean, Michael Keaton will always be my childhood favorite, but Matt Reeves and everyone involved gave us something truly special, and I'm really happy to usher in a new era of Batman. In any case, now that we're all caught up with pop culture, I want to talk a little bit about the future of my channel since your feedback might help sway the direction I'll be heading. Now, for those who've been following my content for a while, first I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thanks so much for your support throughout the years, seriously. I know I say it often in my videos and across social media, so it might come off as a copy-paste response, but I truly am fortunate and grateful for everyone's positive feedback, especially since I'm not the best at being consistent or following through on ideas. For context, I began phase 1 of this YouTube journey back in 2019, making step-by-step tutorials with a cheap ring light and my iPhone 7 Plus. My goal was to inspire fellow collectors to become a little more confident and a lot more comfortable in your posing abilities with the hopes of enjoying your figures even more. Neo was my very first video, which I had a lot of fun filming and editing, and I was super lucky to be met with positive reception, so I continued on with that formula, which worked for a while. But unfortunately, my preferred style of jump cut editing was very time consuming, and it wasn't really sustainable, especially while juggling work full time. And so, for Phase 2, I switched to a showcase format for my Terminator figures, followed by Miles, Nebula, Mando, and The Force Awakens to highlight more poses, but with much less editing involved. It was definitely fun since it really challenged me to explore more creative ways to display my figures, and a lot more pose ideas could be shared within a shorter video duration. However, coming up with 15 to 30 poses for each figure still took days, or sometimes even weeks, which really hinders productivity. And the downside to that format is that it kinda strayed away from my original vision of teaching fellow collectors how to achieve the pose. Granted, many of you watching are probably seasoned by now and have become skilled posers or even started your own YouTube channels, which, by the way, is so awesome. But the 6-scale community has grown exponentially over the years, with a lot more people collecting these days. And since I want to return to my roots of teaching how to pose, I'm thinking Phase 3 of the channel might introduce live stream tutorials that could feature old and new figures alike. Now, the live show would be called Pose Academy, which is inspired by Jedi Academy, and it'll be streamed from my point of view, just like my tutorial, so that collectors, learners, or posing Padawans can easily follow along with your own figures if you have it in hand, as I go through the motions alongside a special guest for each show. Now, I haven't finalized the logistics yet, since I'd prefer to coordinate a time slot that's compatible with both my work schedule and the streaming schedules of my fellow content creators, but I'll probably ease in with maybe 1 or 2 live streams a month at first, with Boba Fett kicking things off. But let me know what you think. Is that something you'd tune in for regardless of your skill level, or not really? I figured this could be a fun and engaging way to help out our newer collectors, while also being more active in the community, since it wouldn't require weeks of filming and editing. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, we can try something else. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback in the comments below, but before I go, I do want to dedicate the rest of this video to a few collectors who are putting out some really awesome stuff that inspires me and I think deserves a lot more love and attention. First up is Dan and Dre from 6th Scale Reviews. They're a pair of cousins who share their YouTube and Instagram together, but holy crap, my jaw dropped when I saw some of these poses that were showcased on their channel. I mean, I've seen some dynamic poses out there, but damn, this is posing on steroids, and I absolutely love seeing the amount of passion and fearlessness that went into this insane battle royale, and the level of creativity is pretty consistent across their other videos too. Next up is Anthony from Figure Posing Channel, who's been a longtime friend in the community and a fellow passionate poser. He also helps run 6 Scale Posers, which is a really welcoming Facebook group for collectors of all skill levels. But on YouTube, he shares so many fun poses for various Star Wars troopers, MCU heroes and villains, and so much more. He also provides really helpful tips like how to increase Captain America's range of motion by pulling up the pants, and he came up with this genius idea of using several magnets to hold up Captain America's shield collision, which is one of the most innovative figure hacks I've ever seen. Plus, he also got Cap to sit down and lecture us, so if that alone isn't worth the watch, then you're missing out. Next, we have pose enthusiast John from Iron Logan, who makes really awesome story-driven showcases that proves he's not afraid to stack his figures in truly unique, action-oriented ways. He also hosts a chill, non-competitive show called Posed Up, where he and a guest chat about various insightful topics while casually posing, kinda like that YouTube series Hot Ones, but with figures instead of wings. Now, this next one really needs no introduction, as I'm sure many of you either seen his awesome poses or enjoyed his group live streams, but I gotta give a huge shout out to my guy Lael from 1/6 Scale Man 2099. I mean, not only is he an incredibly talented poser, but this guy is hands down one of the most positive, genuine, inviting, and above all, inclusive content creators in the community. Whether you're in the chat of his live streams, partaking on a panel, or even watching after it's already aired, he welcomes everyone in from all around the world with an open mind and heart, and he brings people together with so much love that it's truly heartwarming to see and be part of. Now, if you're interested in quality content that's not strictly dedicated to posing, then you'll definitely want to check out the up-and-coming channel Boston Collectors, which is shared by the lovely collector couple Johnathan and Natasha. Now, I could go on and on about how insanely gorgeous their videos are, let alone their Instagram, but you don't even have to take my word for it. Go see for yourself. This channel really has it all. Soft mood lighting, slick camera slides, macro lens close-ups, professionally lit angles, calming voiceover, beautifully posed cinematics, and more. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have no idea how content of this caliber is flying under the radar. The level of care and attention to detail for each shot is simply mind-blowing, and the overall presentation truly elevates figure unboxings and reviews to a whole new level. Now, last but most definitely not least is a channel with some extraordinarily creative content that's not very common among 6th scale YouTubers, and that's Desy from Metamorphic Customs. Now, what's really cool and unique about his channel is that he showcases these absolutely beautiful and immaculate dioramas that he makes in various sizes. Some of them sit on top of existing Hot Toys bases, while others take up a full detolf shelf. But aside from being an incredibly talented artist, the best part is that he spends the majority of his videos teaching us exactly how to build these entirely from scratch. He has links to all the tools and materials that he uses for each video, and he explains his various techniques in great detail that's super easy to follow, such as carving foam core in random patches to create rocks, mixing tile grout with Mod Podge to add texture, how to apply watercolors with the exact paint to water droplet ratio, or even gluing actual twigs and chopped oregano for realistic foliage, and so much more. Now, bear in mind, I rarely use dioramas or display bases due to lack of shelf space, but watching his creative process alongside the soft 80s synth is both soothing and therapeutic to say the least, and it's really encouraging to see more tutorials like this being shared across the community. But that pretty much does it for this video. Be sure to check out those awesome channels when you get a chance. I'll have their links down below. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I know it's been a while and I was long overdue, but with everyone putting out such awesome content, I couldn't help but feel inspired to become more active and involved, and hopefully Pose Academy turns out to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned for more details on that. Now, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to show your support with the thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. As usual, I'll be sharing pics over on Instagram whenever I can at posingwithpeter16. That's all I got for now, so if you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.